What was the dude with the green eyes, the light skin from Dipper Lane? Used to have a Cadillac. What's his name? Mike?
Mike,
They all used to
Mike,
be, used to be all be together, right?
Mike, he had like the duck voice, like
yeah.
That was Mike. Yeah, that was Mike.
Yeah.
But you know, that was just that was a bad time, dude. You know, but she introduced me. Maybe you could say she was religious or whatever, but she introduced me to spirituality, man. And it was that spirituality that helped me get through that situation.
Well, Randy, you know I talk about spirituality all the time because I talk about soul people. Soul people is inclusive. It's not. It doesn't have a color or shape or size or anything. Soul people is anybody. You know what I mean? That just has a soul. You know what I mean? So when we think about it in the context, man, it's in order to give Damus and Keyways to get them to receive that unconditional love that they not getting. You know what I mean? But we have to be able to translate it in a way to where we are natural people, man, and we love each other. You know what I mean? But it's just something that disturb our mind. You know what I mean? To keep us from just showing it, man. You know what I mean?
Because at that time when I did get out, man, I wanted to. Because the person who was really hurting was Ken.
Yes,
Ken was hurting, man. And every time I ran into him, man, I seen it. Anyway, he was acting like he came at me with anger a couple of times, man. But I wanted to, we just wasn't in a place where I could do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wanted to show that brother love, man, because I felt his pain, man. That dude was hurt. He was hurting for a long time, dude.
Did you also know he had a stroke?
I did. I heard that later.
Yeah, he's in the hospital, and he's still living and everything. But
and that was another good dude, though, man. You know what I mean? But I couldn't embrace him, man, because at that time I couldn't penetrate that hurt, man.
Right.
I couldn't penetrate that pain.
Did you notice that Ken at one time, pound for pound, he was the strongest man in California, based in his weight class?
You know what? I didn't know that, but I know the boy was gonna be a bad football player.
Yeah.
Him and Kim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Both of them was bad, man. They was strong and fast.
That little dude had a bench press, man. That was like, man, how did that little dude lift that, man? You know, one of them type of situations. He's like, nah, man, come on, man.
I didn't know that.
The weights must be fake. You
know. But
let me dial back a little bit. I want to ask. I had a question to ask, and I don't know if you remember this, and I don't know if it was Bartender or Malcolm. New York or I don't know, but Pearl Avenue, Blackstone Piru. Who started that?
That was them. And you know what? That was a little before me too. But that was Bartender, and and it really was. It was Bartender and him. He was mixing mostly with the West Sides, Denver Lanes. That's when Mike and them started coming around. Sammy from Denver Lane.
But nobody remembers that. I asked all kind of Pirus that they don't remember that.
You know what? Because that was a coalition, and it wasn't a lot of Compton Pirus. Not East Side, West Side. That was close to Bartender. Like what was dude? What's the other dude name over there from West Side, man? Because it was another
LB,
Lil Nate.
Lil Nate? Yeah. Okay, Lil Nate.
Yeah, Lil
Vince,
Nate.
Vince.
Lil Vince, yeah.
Okay.
Them dudes, that's who P Stone was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was Bartender clique. You know what I mean?
Okay. I just wanted to understand that, man.
That was their clique. That really, even though they used to hang over on Pearl Street.
Right.
At Bartender spot. They used to have it rocking over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was the people.
And let me tell you about another partner of mine, man. I had great love for him. He had great, man. That Jimmy Cash Butler, man. He could thump, man. That Jimmy Butler could thump, man.
That was my big homie, man.
He could thump, man.
Man, when you say Jimmy Butler, man, I got this when I must have been about in the 10th grade. Jimmy Butler had got out the pen. He disappeared for a while. And we didn't sing for a long. Then
we're going to come back to Jimmy Cash Butler. But once again, we in the lab with Lil Raymond, man. We get down today, man. And stay tuned, man, to this content, man. With content is king. Professor Melly Mel here in the lab with Lil Raymond. where content is king. So Raymond, Lieutenant Jackson, man, obviously this guy, Lieutenant Jackson, and the commissioner, these guys had an impact on you. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Lieutenant Jackson came to me that morning, man. He said, "Did you decide?" I said, the Marine Corps, you know. He said, "Why you choose that one?" I said, "I don't know. I like physicality, you know. I like staying in shape." And at that time, the Marine Corps gave me the impression, you know, that it was a physical challenge, you know. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do that, you know. So there you go. What I didn't know is they had already talked to recruiters. That's when the recruiter's office was right there on Long Beach Boulevard by the bank. Mm-hmm. What's that?
Security Pacific or something? Which one?
Bear. What was that bank, man?
Bear Wheel and Tires right there.
That bank right there.
Yeah. That was Security Pacific, and then it was Bank of America.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it was Bank of America way before it was Bank of the West. Later on, it was Bank of the West. Okay. But it was a Bank of America. But anyway, the recruiters, they had already talked to the recruiter, man. So, you know,
so obviously their minds was made up.
Yeah, you know, Lieutenant Jackson said, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do, man." He said, "We're gonna release you. As soon as you get released, you know, he gave me some, I don't remember how much, he gave me so much time to get home, take a shower and everything, you know what I mean? Put on something decent and get down to the recruiter's office." He said, "He's taking you to get tested today. You got to go take the test, you know, and all of that, and go through the recruitment process and this and that." And I'm like, okay, you know. I'm saying I'm like, you know, I got to walk through town, right? He was like, "I don't give a shit, man. You'll be all right. You go get home. You go take a shower, and you're gonna have your ass down to the recruiter's office, you know." But me, you know, I was going down to the recruiter's office, you know. But on my way home, I stopped off at my girlfriend's house, you know, who ended up being my first wife, you know, Val. You know, and she like, "Well, how you get out?" You know, this and that. I said, "No time." I told her what was happening. Got to go to the Marine Corps. I got to make it down to the recruiter's office. And she was like, "Okay, well, I'm going with you. You know how to do it, man. You know, I'm ride or die, you know." So I wait for her to get dressed. Then we go into my house. I take a shower, get dressed, and this and that. And we had, you know, a long walk down Tucker to Long Beach Boulevard. I guess I took too long. Because by the time I got to Long Beach Boulevard, about, I want to say 4 squad cars came, boxed me in, and Lieutenant Jackson jumped out. "Man, did you think I was playing with you? You think this a motherfucking joke?" You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, grabbed me, handcuffed me, and I'm trying to tell him, my girl, she crying. She said, we was going. And this and that, he went through his shenanigans for about 10 minutes, man. You know, I said, "You see, I'm right like 2 steps from the recruiter's office, bro." He said, "I gave you 20 minutes. I gave you so much time, you know what I mean? You 20 minutes out, you know." I was like, okay. You know, anyway. That was a big old fiasco. I go in there, man. They take me down. Damn, I don't even remember where we went to take the test. It might have been somewhere off the 10 out there in Hacienda, out that way, West Covina somewhere. Take the test, you know, so that they can place me or whatever, you know. I come back, you know, and they tell you what your scores are and what MOSs you qualify for and everything. Lieutenant Jackson and the commissioner, this was a couple of days before Thanksgiving, 1979. Never forget, man.
Wow.
You know? And Lieutenant Jackson and the commissioner, they wanted me gone that day. They was telling the recruiter, "No, we want his ass up out of here today." He said, "You bring your ass back to Compton for anything, you ride in that and whatever other case you get. And if we can dig some more shit up on your ass, you ride in that. You're going to the pen." They held that on me, you know.
So they wanted to just eliminate you from the equation of being involved in whatever criminal activity that existed during that time. Right. They took you out the equation, and they didn't no longer have to worry about you.
We don't want to see your ass back here no more, you know, for nothing.
Which turned out to be a good thing for you.
Yeah, it did. It turned my life around. And anyway, I went in there, and the MOS I chose, 0121, which was basically administration, you know, and which turns out to be how I got into computers, really, you know. But that was another thing, you know. But the MOS that I chose, you know, you go in boot camp based on your MOS because they line all that up right after boot camp. Get a little leave, then you go right into school and this and that.
But don't your test score give them some type of guidelines to where to place you?
Exactly, because your test
so
score
you tested pretty
what
good.
You qualify for. Right. You know, because if you're too low, you're gonna be a grunt. You know, period. You ain't got no choice.
Your IQ is not where they need it to be.
Right. So you know, I tested, but because of the MOS, that you know everything was lined up. But you know, he had to call Lieutenant Jackson and say, man, but we can't get him out of here till Friday. He was hot about that, man, you know. Right now, dude, it's like Wednesday, man. You know, 2 days. You know, he's like, you can't get out of here till Friday. So you know, he said, tell me to put it on the phone. He put me on the phone. He said, man, go sit your ass down somewhere. I don't want to see your ass. Any of the squad cars tell me they see you in the streets anywhere. All bets are off. Your ass going to prison. You know what I mean? Go sit your ass down and go on, catch that bus on Friday and go to boot camp. You know. So, you know, I went to my girl's house, man. She cooked Thanksgiving dinner. That Friday, I caught the bus. It's a bus that comes down at the recruiting office right there on Long Beach Boulevard. I jumped on it. The main recruiting office in LA at that time was on Wilshire and Crenshaw. We went up there, take the physical, and go through, you know, the shenanigans. I get on the bus. They take me right down to San Diego, man.
That's it.
Boot camp.
Camp Pendleton.
Yeah. Well, it was MCRD.
Okay.
It's past Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
Because, you know, I actually, you know, MCRD is in Oceanside.
Oceanside.
Just before you get to San Diego.
Right.
The Marine.
That's where you see all them bunkers out there.
Yeah.
Ammo bunkers.
Yeah, but the boot camp is actually in San Diego. It's still there. You know what I mean?
Good.
And I went through there, man. Went through boot camp. You know, and that's where it started, man. I got out of boot camp. They sent me to school. Ironically, I didn't get a chance to get out of California, which they wanted, but they couldn't control that, you know. Because once I got out of school for 0121 administration, I got on the project because that was around the time where the military was converting everything into microfiche, and they were computerizing everything. So I got on that project.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, once I got on that project, man, the brass wasn't letting you go nowhere, man, you know.
Oh, they wanted you right there.
You got to be right there because that was a critical project, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, they had what they called a manpower management system, which was this big AS400 computer. You know, all the hard copies, the records and stuff, they was putting that on microfiche and putting it into the system. And that's actually when my computer, you know, career started.
So is that safe to say you became an IT after then, or?
Well, you know, not hardcore. You know, that was just my first little taste of it. You know, I just wanted a good job, so I didn't have to go to the field. You know, you know what I mean? So, you know, it was cool, man. You know, it was a brother that I met while I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, Ricky Burrow. I've been looking for that brother ever since I've been out, man. But this brother, man, he was like the coolest brother. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. He used to play football at Tennessee
State.
Yeah, you know, and he got hurt and lost his scholarship or whatever. And he started selling weed to stay in school. He caught a case, and he ended up in there similar to the way
similar circumstance.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But he was getting his degree through the mail, man. So while we was all partying, man, you know, and chasing girls and everything else, man, this brother be back at the barracks every night, getting his degree and studying. And, you know, and this went on for about 4 years, man. He was due to get out before us, man. But what impressed me is we was all about to get out. We didn't really have no plans because we ain't saved no money because we partying the whole time, you know. This brother, man, had these big companies coming on base to interview him for nice positions and this and that, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And that's what inspired me to start thinking about education and what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And I started talking.
So now those blessings are still working because now you realize that where your goals are at.
Right.
You know your goals, right? But and you also been blessed to be in this circumstance, right?
Right.
But now you got the tools.
Right.
You know, so now you're putting everything together. Talk about that.
And this brother here, man, he I got a lot of best. I used to call him Ricky B, because I ended up being his roommate, even though he outranked me. And the reason why I call him Ricky B is kind of funny too, because he was real, like he was a clean cut brother, man. When he took off the uniform, he stepped out. He was in the double-breasted suits and the Crocs, and, and this and that. I'm still straight up. I'm still Compton. You know what I mean? Right. I'm still in probably khakis and croaker sacks.
So one question though, when did you realize you stopped saying blood? Was it in the Marines or?
You know what? It was probably toward the end of the Marines. Because I started hanging with a different crowd.
That's what I was getting at.
And I'm going to tell you the biggest blessing, because I hated the Marine Corps structurally, because it was the most rigorous form of racism that I ever been subjected to. But the beautiful thing about it is I met brothers, man, from all over the country, all over the world, really, from all walks of life.
Black supermen.
Right, my age. And they had goals and aspirations, man. Here I am. My biggest goal was to get a fat sack, and a nice ride with some babies or something. You know what I mean? And these were some young men. They whole dress, man. You know what I mean? They was sporting. The waves was really tight back then.
Hold that thought, man. Yeah. We're gonna come back to that. Yeah. We're here with Raymond, Lil Raymond. And we're just having a great conversation. We did through an 8-part series yesterday. And I'm glad we had an opportunity to sit down and we went over some things, man, and that was mind-blowing both ways, you know what I mean? Was thought-provoking, profound. Right. And you let me in on some things that, man, I hadn't heard until I spoke with you yesterday. Right. So, yes, man, I'm glad we had a chance to go over that, man, and hopefully they'll take this content and they'll learn from it and then use it as a teaching tool, because that's my goal, is to use it, you know what I mean? Because we're on the forefront of this video age, and when I say forefront, I'm saying that there's no tribes out there or there's no other network out there as far as, say, if you go outside of West Coast, where they're talking about their tribes and they're going back over the history and looking into all the mistakes they made. But now we're in the position to go back over and just try to evaluate it in a way and give it back to the younger generation to where they can take it and just, man, they don't have to do what we did.
Right,
Man.
And I'm not the Lil Raymond that a lot of from the hood, from either side, I'm not that Lil Raymond that you know. I'm Raymond Hazelwood, I'm a new man with a new spiritual perspective, man, a new brand of intellectualism, trying to build businesses. Future, I'm closer to 60, so, we're getting towards the twilight. Hopefully we can leave a legacy to the young folks.
And when did you finish your master's program, right?
Actually, I just finished my master's program in education with an option in new e-learning and new media design. The purpose is to build an online technology, online teaching and learning business, and a consulting, offering different services like cloud networking, Microsoft networking technology, Cisco networking technology, and but I see the future as cloud networking, Microsoft, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. I see that being the future, and I'd like to use that as a vehicle to connect with the young digital age, the young generation, man. And hopefully, man, they don't have to live the life of death and destruction that we live, man. The worst kind of death and destruction is when you're being killed and hunted by your own brothers, man, who look like you, who might even be related to you if you go down the line, you know, further enough, man. You know, that was the worst legacy that I could have left, man. And if it's one thing that I regret about my past, it's that, you know, that I lived that kind of life, man, that resulted in the death and destruction of other black families, you know, hurting my black brothers, man, who look like me. You know, so,
and do me a favor, name those men once again that you give credit to help you turn your life around.
Right. I give credit to Ricky Lynn Burrow, even though I ain't found him in 30-something years, man. I'd love to find him. I hope he out there somewhere. And if he is, I know he's doing great. You know, I want to give credit to Miss Tate, you know.
And that's Bullet's mom, right?
Bullet's mom, you know, Robert Franklin, Ken Tate, you know, their mom, you know, because she reached to me and sent me love and positive energy in my darkest hour, man, when I thought my life was about to be over. And that made a big difference in my life and inspired me to turn my life around. And a lot of what I'm doing today, my spiritual perspective, is a result of that connection. I can never thank her for the love that she showed me, you know.
And I appreciate that, Raymond, man. But hey, man, I'm looking forward to being one of your first students, man, so I can get on board with this tech, man, because this tech is where it's at, man, and we appreciate it. Once again, we Professor Melle Mel, we in the lab, the hood postman, the hooditician, and the hood journalist, man. We here with Lil Raymond today, but Raymond Hazelwood, man. That's my partner right there, man.
Right.
So
I'm just Raymond today.
He's just Raymond today, man. And I'm Melly Mel, man, and we're in the lab.
I love my people, man. I got love for all my people, man. I don't care if you say cuz, blood, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. We grown men, man.
You know.
And this is KM Videos where content is king. And are you looking forward for this content, the show on KM Videos? I will put a portion on it on my channel, but you know what it is, man. KM Videos, Professor Melly Mel Next Level, where content is king, and we're out. Thank you, Raymond.